Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Hello there, and welcome on in to the Wicked Boston Show here on Rogue Media Sports Network, live on YouTube as we are every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and then wherever you get those pretty little podcasts as well, if you want to listen to us. I'm your host, Cam Stuart. Zach Burke is behind the glass. He's keeping us on the air every weekday so that we can bring you the only sports talk radio show in this city that is by the fans and for the fans. We are talking Patriots and Super Bowl, of course, today. We're actually going to get into a little bit of Bruins as well, because there is something that is happening in the Bruins that is benefiting them, and it's hurting the Toronto Maple Leafs and might do for years to come. We will also talk about maybe some of the reasons why Josh McDaniels is a huge part of why the Patriots are in Super Bowl 60 and what he has meant for this franchise and for Drake Maye, and the hope that it will continue. We'll get some comparisons to the 2001 team. I'll also bring on a genius that you might not know yet, and that is Shea of Fanatics Sports. Not that Fanatics, better Fanatics. Does film breakdown stuff on YouTube, specifically a Patriots fan, and he has already started to take some looks ahead at the Super Bowl and where the Patriots have some advantages. And it's going to surprise you, because the Pats are going to be big underdogs, and you're going to hear about how great the Seahawks are, and the Seahawks are great. But there are some advantages in this game that swing heavily towards the New England Patriots. Shea is going to help us break that down and see what those matchups are. All that and more coming up on this episode of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart. But we start where we start, and it's going to be about Josh McDaniels here. And I'm going to kind of get into that. So keep it up here. Keep it up here. It's going to flow into this. The more I look at this week for the Patriots in Super Bowl 60, the more it reminds me of Super Bowl 36 and that 2001 team. There's actually a lot of similarities there. You know, first you have the second-year quarterback, the 23-year-old. I think Brady was 24. He was 24, and he takes off, and this is kind of his coming out party. You certainly have that with Drake Maye, but you look at the build of this team, right? They are defense first, and maybe they weren't that way all year, like the way the 01 Patriots were, but they're a defense first team. And I think it's one of those where you look at them and you say, man, the whole is definitely better than the sum of its parts. There's not a lot of huge names on this defense. They're kind of a ragtag, put it together kind of group. And that's what people thought about the 01 Patriots until they won the Super Bowl. And then these guys became household names. You did have two Hall of Famers on that team, that defense anyway, Ty Law, Richard Seymour. But you had a bunch of guys that were really good football players as well. Teddy Bruschi, Lawyer Malloy, Mike Vrabel, Willie McGinnis. You know, there's so many of those guys, and you didn't really appreciate it until afterwards. Now you look back, and those guys are legends, not just New England, but people look back and remember those guys on those teams. I think that could be what's happening with this team, because the weeks go on, and this defense continues to suffocate teams, and I keep hearing about it, and to some extent I keep talking about it, how this team does not have a ton of stars. But like, Christian Gonzalez is a top 3 cornerback in football. Like, he's an absolute stud. Marcus Jones, best kept secret in football right now, as a punt returner and as a defensive back. You know, Carlton Davis is giving you a pretty good season. The guys up front are monsters. We'll talk about them more later on in the show. But, you know, Barmore, Milton Williams, Kyrus Tonga. There's a great story that came out this week about Kyrus Tonga, and his agent was so stunned that they got a call on day 1 of free agency. They were thinking that was going to be day 4, day 5, when the big names are off the board. But no, the Patriots identified that right away. Robert Spillane is a huge part of this team. You know, and that's just on the defensive side of things. But then you put this into account as well. It's the second-year starting quarterback. Really his first full year starting. They're going to be big underdogs in the Super Bowl. The quarterback gets hurt kind of, sort of, in the AFC Championship game. Sounded like Drake had some shoulder soreness before then, takes a hit by Ufunga in the third quarter, and that's what's got him on the injury report right now. That's Tom Brady, got knocked out of the AFC Championship game. Bledsoe finished the game. There was only 1 week between the championship and the Super Bowl, and everyone was talking about who the quarterback was going to be. Now, that part isn't exactly the same, but it is wild how many similarities are there. A worst to first kind of season already. Everyone's counted them out. They haven't had great offensive performances in the playoffs. It's their defense that's gotten them there, and they're heavy underdogs going into this Super Bowl. We have seen this before. Lonnie Paxton was on our show last week. That's a guy who's on the 0-1 team, has 3 Super Bowl rings with the Patriots. And he said, yeah, that team actually reminds me a lot of 2001. And that's got to be a great feeling. That is on the Mount Rushmore of all-time Boston sports teams. Right? Like, obviously the 04 Red Sox, nothing can touch that. And you got to think of like the 70 Bruins, the first one in 29 years, Bobby Orr flying through the air, the 86 Celtics, and probably the 0-1 Patriots for just the way they came out of nowhere with this storybook ending. This 2025 team has a chance to be right up there. Unexpected, out of nowhere, storybook ending. And I know a lot of people around the country aren't thinking that right now. And they probably weren't thinking that at this point in 01 because they were saying, they got lucky on the Tuck rule call. Okay, that Steelers team, that wasn't ready to show up. Like if we had the ESPN lineup we had now, they'd say, the Raiders got screwed in the divisional round. Patriots are lucky to even be here. They got the snow on their side, which helped them. And then the next week, they would say, well, Cordell Stewart is like the CJ Stroud of 2001. They played Cordell Stewart. That guy lost them the game. The Patriots didn't win it. Cordell Stewart lost it for the Steelers. There's 31 other quarterbacks out there that could have beaten the Patriots that day. It's the same thing as 2025. And then they'll get in there and they'll say, well, they'll get their ass kicked in the Super Bowl. Because this team on the other side, man, whoa, we haven't seen anything like this. With the Rams, it was the greatest show on turf. With the Seahawks, it's the rebirth of Sam Darnold and the second coming of the Legion of Boom. It's a flat circle, man. Time is a flat circle. And where I really got the feeling of this team being like the 0-1 team was this week when I was watching that video the NFL puts together when they mic up the guys. Patriots mic'd up in the AFC Championship, and it was their 2 best players, Christian Gonzalez and Drake Maye. There's a problem with it. Neither of those guys are very interesting on the field. Neither of them talked. It was crazy. Like, it had to be the least amount that anybody had ever spoken when being mic'd up for an NFL game. But you could get some of the guys that were talking to them. And this moment came out of this. And I'm telling you, like, I'm a pretty callous sports fan at this point, but I still really care a lot, obviously. I was watching this video the other day. I was watching the mic'd up segment. And by the end, I was like getting emotional about this team. And the one moment that people are pulling aside is this one between Josh McDaniels and Drake Maye. It was right before the final drive where Drake gets the first down and runs out the clock. But it was a quarter and a half of complete slog through the blizzard. And here is this kind of intimate moment between quarterback and offensive coordinator in one of the biggest games of both of their lives.
It's hard.
I know.
Good God.
Hey, listen to me. Look at me. It's going to be hard. But look, this will be the most rewarding 6.5 minutes of our lives if we can get it done. You know what I mean?
They got
Like, that's what I'm talking about right there, man. That was an open and honest moment between 2 guys trying to reach a dream, specifically Drake Maye, trying to reach the Super Bowl. It's just hard, man. It's hard. And contrary to popular belief, stuff like this did happen in the Belichick regime, but it is very comforting to not just hearing do your job, which worked for a long time. But Josh McDaniels saying, like, man, you gotta look at me. Gotta trust me here. Like he's your doctor or something, or he's trying to get you out of an avalanche. So you got to trust me or it's going to be hard. But the payoff of this is going to be incredible. Like he came, all he really needed to say after that was tap him on the knee, say, I love you, buddy. Let's go out there and do this thing. And you do get that in this mic'd up. Like Drake Maye is talking with Will Campbell. And I think Campbell says to him, like, I love you, man. One more drive and we're in the Super Bowl. And it's just little things like that where you're like, this team is special. After I watched it, I had this feeling of like, oh shit, I'm too invested in this. I'm terrified to say that I really, really, really want the Patriots to win this game. I've seen plenty. I'm not owed anything. But I would love to see this team win the Super Bowl. This team of, some cast-offs, some guys who they didn't believe in, hodgepodge of players and coaches that have come together and have withstood week after week after week after week of everybody telling them they're not good enough. And they just keep proving people wrong, man. This is a team that is together. And I know the Seahawks are too. But like, man, no one deserves to win the Super Bowl. You go out there and you win it. Nothing is promised to anybody. But it would just be great poetic justice if this team won the Super Bowl. Even though we've had a bunch. This is a new era. It's a new team. In fact, McDaniels is really the only holdover from the last one, right? I don't think that there's no more players that are held over. I doubt there are any coaches. He's the only one that was there for the last one. And it was that clip with McDaniels and May. It made me think back to that game in Germany, which was 2.5 years ago now. And Mac Jones threw one of the worst picks I've ever seen at the NFL level. It made no sense why he thought this guy was open. And you go back to the sideline and he's kind of got his head in his hands and Bill O'Brien is freaking out. He's doing one of his tantrums. He's throwing the headset. And you wish you had a moment like this. You wish you had a moment with him and Josh McDaniels in the snow, and maybe his career is different. And you just think I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, thank God that we don't have to worry about that with Drake Maye right now. You know what I mean? And like, it's BS. It's schmaltzy BS stuff, but that really matters in the heat of the battle and in a game like that. And you see it obviously with McDaniels, but you really see it. You see it with Mike Vrabel, the head guy. We see those old videos of, Josh McDaniels and Matt Patricia telling them and telling the players that they love each other. But that wasn't Bill Belichick. Mike Vrabel's right there with it, man. He's dapping up everybody, every player, giving them a couple of seconds after a game, win or lose. And saying, the first thing he says when they bring him up on the podium is like, Mike, you could be the first guy to ever win a Super Bowl as a player and a coach with the same team. And he says, I won't win it. These guys will win it. And it is. It's schmaltzy kind of BS stuff. But like, that's the Patriot way too. That's the Patriot way as well. Not just the Patriot way too. And so I don't know, man. It's silly, but I'm watching this mic'd up segment. There's nothing actually good to really take from it from the players, but I'm like getting a little emotional. Like, I love this team's story because unlike what we saw, definitely not in the 2010s, but even in the last two, the 03 and 04 Super Bowl titles, like they said everyone counted them out. No, it wasn't that way. It wasn't everybody counting them out. This one, everybody's counting them out. Again, they were lucky, backup quarterback, snow, CJ Stroud, Chargers offensive line. They'll find every excuse in the book to tell you why these Patriots aren't as good as they actually are. They're 17-3, and they're one win away from proving everyone wrong forever. No matter what you say, there's going to be a banner hanging if they win this game. And you can feel that emotion from them. You can feel that they are really thinking that's us against the world. That's why I really love this team. But make no mistake about it, no one's going to be giving them a shot. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel because we come at you every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. So let me know what you think in the comments below, because this Patriots team is going to be counted out. They are already heavy underdogs against the Seattle Seahawks, but they could have some secret advantages that they can get after the Seahawks team with. Don't take my word for it. We're going to take the word of Joe Shea from Fanatics Sports. He has already broken this down, and he is going to highlight some of those giant matchups that could go in the Patriots' favor. We're going to do that after this short break on the Wicked Boston Show.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome back. Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on Rogue Media Sports Network. We're live on YouTube. We do that every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we might switch that around next week when we're out west. That could be coming, so keep on the lookout for that. But it's also available wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. We're taking a look at Patriots, Seahawks. Patriots, of course, heavy underdogs in this one, going up against the second coming of the Legion of Boom. So how can the Patriots actually get after the Seahawks in this game? Well, we're going to ask our next guest that question. Joe Shea joins us from Fanatics Sports. He has been crunching the tape, Joe. Where are you at with your process? Do you know everything about the Seahawks at this point? We still got a couple days.
I wouldn't say everything. I want to look over some coverage data with the Seahawks as well, talking to guys like Match Quarters, Cody Alexander, and people like that, trying to figure all that out. But so far, I think we have an advantage in one specific area and kind of an advantage in another area. But I want to start with the first one whenever you want me to.
Well, I mean, first off, guys, like, are we serious? This is the football guy's guy right here. This is a guy who's got it front and back. And I've been watching your videos have been popping off on YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
a couple of them have gotten really big. These film breakdowns, talking about this Patriots defense, which not enough people are still talking about, even as they sit here in the Super Bowl. And yeah, I watched the one the other day on the advantages they can get at that they have against this Seahawks team. It's something they have used here in the postseason so far. It's already been a big advantage. And yet I still don't think enough people are talking about it. So we'll start with that, Joe. What is the biggest advantage the Patriots have in this matchup with the Seahawks?
The biggest advantage that the Patriots have over the Seahawks is interior trenches. We have a much better interior pass rush than they do interior offensive line. They have rookie first-round pick Gray Zabel at left guard, who is great. Trust me, he's going to be a great player. But then at right guard, they have debatably, I wouldn't say it's debatable, the second worst starting guard in the league with Anthony Bradford. And then in average center, I would say, with Jalen Sundell. Whereas we have Milton Williams and Christian Barmore who have taken over the playoffs in both the pass rush and the run game. I mean, both of them, I've gone over clips of both of them destroying people on outside zone plays, inside zones, anything powers, all of that, as well as Barmore going over Quinn Miners, in all-pro left guard or right guard for the Denver Broncos, two-time all-pro. I think we have the advantage there because when you look at the numbers, you have the guys like Anthony Bradford, who's allowed 7 pressures in the postseason, which is a lot for a guard in the playoffs. And then Jalen Sundell's allowed 5. And then you have Corey Durden as well. That's a guy that's not talked about enough in Boston media, in sports media. In the playoffs so far, Corey Durden has 13 pressures, which is 4th, and he is 90.7 PFF pass rushing grade, which is 1st among all interior defensive linemen. He's a guy who during the regular season didn't get that many pass rushing snaps, but in the regular season when he was used, he had 18.1% pass rush win rate, which was 2nd. You get a guy like that, as well as Milton Williams and Christian Barmore on the field at the same time, which they've done many times before, and they take advantage of Bradford, Sundell, and Zabel. That's going to help us a lot. If we can pressure Sam Darnold, who was not good against pressure in the regular season, things have turned around in the postseason for him. There's multiple plays of him doing very well against the Rams pressure and the 49ers. I think that those 3 can impact the game at a different level. Now, the only issue we'll have there is edge pressure, which I think is more important than interior pressure in football terms. But overall, I think that those 3, along with Kyrus Tonga in the run game, he had one play where he threw Wattenberg, I believe is the Broncos center, back into RJ Harvey and got a stop for a 3-yard loss on that play on 2nd and 1.
That was a huge play. Yeah.
Yeah. Insane play for the Patriots that was needed. I mean, 2nd and 1, they were in Patriots territory at the time.
Yes. It was after a short punt. Yeah. They were in regular field goal range, obviously not really in the snow, but they were at like the 35. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll also talk about Bryce Behringer. That was whatever.
Not his best. Not his best.
Not at all. But you get those 3 plus Tonga and impacting the run game and pass rush. I don't think Sam Darnold will be able to survive that, in all honesty.
Yeah, that was kind of leading me to my next question is how does that fit into the Seahawks offense in terms of we saw obviously it was really highlighted against Denver because they had a backup quarterback and they just couldn't run the ball. And that's what really sealed them off in the second half. Everyone talks about the offensive line for the Chargers, but this is a good, solid kind of offensive line, at least on the edge.
It's definitely solid. Yeah.
And I'm wondering how much does this kind of disrupt their offense with the Patriots being so good in the middle?
How does it disrupt their offense?
Yeah.
Well, so one thing it definitely helps is that Darnold is not very good in the quick game compared to other quarterbacks. When you have that interior pressure, you want to get the ball out quick. You can't be looking downfield as much as you can if it's edge pressure, because if you're getting pressure off the edge, it's a lot easier to run to the, outside the pocket, scramble around. But when it's coming right at you face to face, like it was to Jarrett Stidham, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, it's a lot harder to get that ball away or get it deep if you want to, which the Seahawks are a very good deep passing team. We know this. JSN is one of the best deep receivers in the league. Sam Darnold was a very good deep quarterback in the league, especially at the beginning of the season. Him and Drake Maye were both at historic rates for completion percentage and big time throw percentage and things of that nature. So it makes it harder for them to honestly get those first down plays, keep going, get those second down plays, keep going. Third down, we know what the Seahawks are. They're a great team, but you want to stop them on those early downs where Kenneth Walker, he won't have a good game in this game. If they're going to win this game, it's because of guys like Nicky Manwari, Devin Witherspoon, DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, that defense, as well as Sam Darnold, hopefully trying to get a play action passing game going. I don't know if he'll be able to because there's no threat of run, but that pressure will stop any deep game, forcing Darnold to one of his weaknesses, which is the quick game.
That's interesting because the Darnold season, and really last season too, I think there's still people going into this game thinking, Sam Darnold. He's had a nice year, but Sam Darnold, you know what I mean? And he just came off like the game of his life.
Like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, like
no picks.
We can't talk about Sam Darnold the way that we were before these playoffs. And I was one of those guys who didn't believe in him. I won't lie. But then seeing how they won against 49ers, I was on the 49ers in that game. I won't lie. I was clearly wrong. And then I was on the Rams.
Yeah.
But I'm wrong. I'm here to admit I was wrong. Sam Darnold's that guy. I don't care what anyone says. He blew up last year, but 2024 and 5 is not 2025 and 6. It's a completely different year, completely different system, completely different supporting cast, and a much different defense.
And you mentioned it back. I mean, both these quarterbacks, two tremendous deep ball guys, and especially with Jackson Smith and Jigba out there, man. Like he's a tough guy. Are we going to see a lot of one-on-ones with him and Christian Gonzalez? Are we going to see a lot of help on JSN's side? Like, how do you see that matchup coming to fruition?
So this is actually very interesting to me because during the regular season, the Patriots are a very man-heavy team on defense. But that has changed come the postseason. Come the postseason, they run a lot of quarters and just 2 high safety looks in general, something they didn't do a ton in the regular season. For 2 high safety looks, I'll go through each game. For the Chargers, it was just under 50% defensive snaps. For the Texans, it was a little over 60, which is very high. And the Broncos, it was over 50%. And one area that Sam Darnold struggles in is against cover 2. Sam Darnold against cover 2 in the regular season, I'll say. He did very well against it against the Rams. There's 2 plays specifically, the touchdown or the 42-yard gain to JSN and then the touchdown to Jake Bobo were both cover 2 beaters, corner post routes. But in the regular season, Sam Darnold had a 68.8 completion percentage against cover 2, which was 24th, 5.9 yards per attempt, which was 31st, 58.1 pass rating, which was 33rd, and get this, 0 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. If we keep running this 2 high safety look we've been doing, and Clint Kubiak is very good at beating quarters coverage. That's how JSN scored his touchdown with just a simple scissors concept. Not simple at all, actually. JSN ran the corner out of the backfield. Very first time they ran that play all season. He had 12 routes out of the backfield, I think, and none of them were a corner route or a scissors concept at the very least. So that was something the Rams weren't prepared for, a team that runs quarters in the red zone. But if we keep running that 2 high look, that is something that we can force Sam Darnold to make mistakes on. And with how Zach Kerr has been disguising his play calling, like against the Chargers, we had a bunch of like mugged up line of scrimmages, but it would end up being a drop back into coverage, and then someone would loop around, Anthony Jennings sack, something like that. I think Darnold could have a tough day with that. But as for matchups specifically, if we go back to man, which I don't know if we do, because the 2 high looks have been working very well for us. The quarters looks, cover 2, all of it. I think our best option is not really Gonzo on JSN. You want to take someone else out of the game. Hear me out. You want to put Carlton Davis or Marcus Jones on JSN with a bracket safety, Hawkins or Woodson, deep. Double them every play. I don't care. It's the last game of the year. You do whatever you need to stop their best player and let Shaheed or Cup beat you. Because if you put Gonzo on Shaheed outside, I'm sorry, he might get 1 play.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, probably not much.
He didn't do well against us when he was with the Saints. Keep in mind, that is a much different team than the Seattle Seahawks. But something to note, I guess. And then Cooper Kupp, he's still decent at beating man, but he's not really that great against zone. So if we continue that, our zone tendencies in the playoffs, Cooper Kupp might be eliminated from this game. But if we do man coverage, I think having one of the other 2 corners on JSN with a bracket up top and Gonzo just taking someone else out of the game, I think that's the best option. But I obviously understand why people would think, and I also would agree, but I just think bracketing is easier when you don't have your star corner on him. Gonzo on JSN would obviously help as well.
Sure, definitely. I do want to look at the offensive side of things.
Yeah.
Just go. Let's look at Drake Maye. And obviously the name is on the injury report now. We're getting reports that he was a little bit hurt before the game. Then he takes this hit. I just wanted to get from you. Did you see anything in the tape that you were like, ooh, he's short on that. That's a throw that he usually hits. Maybe there is something there. And there was only a couple of pass attempts after the hit, to be fair. There was like 3 in the game after that.
No, it was, it was tough to really see anything just because of the weather and all that. But I'm not afraid of the injury report. Look, he's got 2 weeks since the game, obviously less now, to heal up for the Super Bowl. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid. I don't know if you're feeling any sort of way, but personally, I didn't see anything just because, dude, with the weather, it was just Ramadre. Here you go.
For sure.
But,
yeah. Like I wasn't like, I'm not worried about it. Like he's going to play. I don't think that's any doubt. I think it's just a sore shoulder that he probably landed on in this game.
Yeah.
Because he said it on EEI. He was like, He's just never played this much. He's 20 games into the season. It's just that's a lot for a 23-year-old who's in his second full start. So that's the second full season in the NFL, first full season, second season overall. And so I get that, right? Like it's tough to blame him for that, for doing that for 6.5 months. So I don't think it's gonna. If it was 1 week between games, I'd feel worse about it. But as we talked about earlier, these are two deep ball throwers. So that's something where it's like, well, if you don't have the mustard to beat man 20 yards down the field right now, then maybe that is a concern. But I don't know that I'm ready to go there yet. But looking at the Patriots on the offensive side, with kind of the struggles they've had in this postseason, and the Seahawks, here you go, another top 5 defense. I mean, they've been awesome in this postseason, especially. Do you see a way where do you see a matchup or anything where they can get after the Seahawks defense? Anything that sticks out to you?
So the Seahawks, if there's one thing about the Seahawks defense that you can take advantage of, it's throwing to the tight end. I believe they were 5th in yards per game allowed to tight ends. Hunter Henry is a reliable veteran option. Drake Maye looks for him in those cover 2 hole shots, middle of the field, zone, sits, all of that, and even just contested balls, whatever, and a great red zone target. If there's one guy that I think for the Patriots will have a great game, it's Hunter Henry. I don't really have faith in anyone else like putting up numbers for say we were talking about this, like they're over under for the game. I wouldn't touch anyone else's besides, because they don't guard tight ends well for some reason. I don't know if it's Eamon Worry, even though he's great. Hello? You back?
Oh, you got me? You got me? It froze there for a second. All right, I got you now. Sorry. Keep going.
So, the tight end is very susceptible against the Seahawks. 5th in yards per game. I'm not sure where you lost me. 5th in yards per game allowed to tight ends. And I don't know how, because guys like Nicky Manwari can guard a tight end very well. Ernest Jones can. I don't really get it. But I didn't really see, I was watching it and it just seemed like zone stuff that it was happening in. But I don't know, man to man, I'm scared. But he would be going against Eamon Worry because in the playoffs, Henry has been lining in the slot a lot. I believe it's around 41 or 45% of the time. I don't have the number right in front of me. And Eamon Worry lines up in the slot as well, a lot, as well as the box. So either way, he'll be on Hunter Henry, him or Ernest Jones, most likely. But one thing I want to look at is I actually got this. I won't take credit for this. I got this from Brett Coleman today while I was doing some research, and I happened to see a Brett Coleman video. The Seahawks run a lot of stunts, and when they don't run stunts with 4-man pressure, I believe they're 19th in the league in a pressure rate, whereas they are top 5 when they do run stunts. And I'm sure that's seen on film by the O-line coach and Vrabel and everybody else. So it's really just coaching the guys to be able to take advantage of these stunts, know when they're coming. Don't let them take advantage of Jared Wilson and Will Campbell on the left side by basically making Jared Wilson run into Campbell, and then DeMarcus Lawrence can get right by for a sack. It's basically just making sure that the stunts don't work, which sounds easy in practice, but I'm not a 315-pound offensive lineman or an offensive lineman coach, so I will not say that at all. But, it's really just watching the film on that, seeing how they're working or how they are doing them specifically, whether it's just a loop inside or something of that nature. It's just finding ways to beat it, whatever that would be, whether it's just a different alignment, making sure that the defensive tackle does not get to your outside shoulder or not, because that's really how these work. Once Leonard Williams or Byron Murphy gets to your outside shoulder, the stunt worked. It's over. Good luck.
Yeah.
But you just kind of got to try and stop that. So I would say those two things on offense are definitely where we need to try and find a way to take advantage of those things.
I am curious, and this answer might be something you've already said, but I am curious when we look at these matchups, like a Gonzalez versus JSN or Carlton Davis versus JSN, are there any of these matchups where you're 50-50? If this particular matchup goes one team's way, that's probably the team that's going to win the game. Is there anything that stuck out to you like that so far?
I would say Booty / Kyle Williams versus Tariq Woolen. Tariq Woolen is a very inconsistent player.
Yeah.
We saw that last week. He's made great plays at times. You know, he was great as a rookie, fell off a little bit, and then this year it's just kind of been like, you don't know what you're getting out of him. And he's been susceptible on deep balls. We saw that last week with Puka. Now Puka's very different than Kyle Williams and Kayshon Boutte. But I would say if one of those two can get the deep ball, can catch that deep pass, maybe for a touchdown, maybe just to get them in the red zone or something, that can change the game. And maybe if there's one or two of those plays, you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last thing I kind of want to get from you is, do you see points in this game more so than what we've seen from the Patriots so far? Do we see maybe both teams in the 20s, 30s? Do you see that at all?
So when I look at the Patriots playoff games, I was at the wild card game. Let me tell you, it was cold. My heated vest was not working. It was brutal.
Oof.
All right. The thing was a scam. I don't even want to get into it. Oh my God, the thing didn't work. But and then the divisional game, horrible weather as well. And we all know what happened in the AFC Championship game with the weather. Drake Maye, he's a North Carolina kid. I know he's in New England now. It's going to take him a bit to get used to, it's sub-freezing temperatures. Oh, there's 2 inches of snow coming down.
Yeah.
We're playing in San Francisco. Sure, maybe it rains. Who knows? I'm not a weatherman. Not Walter Nichols, you know. But it's probably going to be sunny skies. We're in San Francisco. It'll be around 3:30 p.m. around kickoff there, right? It's 3 hours behind.
Yep, 3 hours, yeah.
3:30 p.m.
degrees, yeah.
That's his weather. Sam Darnold, USC guy, also his weather. He's also a West Coast guy in Seattle. You know, very, very different weather than San Francisco, but you get my point. Yeah. They play in that area a lot. I could see both teams in the 20s. Could I say 30s? No. No shot. Both of these defenses are way too good for a 60-point total. 20s, I could see a 21-20, 24-21 type of game. I think the max points that will be scored is 24. I don't see it getting to 4 touchdowns. Maybe 27 with an extra field goal. But I don't see 30s. I could see 20s. Realistically, I'd say 21-17.
Okay. You can get a good game out of that. 21-17. Yeah. Plenty of entertainment there.
Yeah,
Joe Shea from Fanatics Sports is always entertaining. Joe, I know you're doing a lot of film breakdowns, but let the people know where they can find this stuff on YouTube and just exactly what you guys have going on.
Yeah, so on YouTube, you can find me at Fanatics Sports. You're not going to like me. I just put out my How the Seahawks Can Win the Super Bowl video. I'm a Boston fan, but I got to be unbiased in the media. That's how I work. Well, hey, you can watch both and tell me which one you think has a better
Exactly.
advantage,
There you go. Form your own opinion. Yeah,
exactly. On TikTok and X, you can find me at Fanatics Sports, and on Instagram at Fanatics Sports 25.
Awesome. Well, Joe, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch the Seahawks one. Maybe I won't. I like already being indoctrinated.
I understand if you don't want to.
You convinced me in the other one, so I don't know. I don't know if I. Yeah. I guess maybe I should. But Joe, hey man, I seriously love the videos, love the breakdowns. I love that we can get kind of that film look at it, that all the football guy stuff. Because honestly, I've been doing it. I've been collecting these kinds of stats throughout the playoffs, and it's worked so far. Like these things have come to fruition. It's almost like they're stats for a reason, and that they don't lie. So, Joe Shea, thank you so much for joining the show, man.
Of course, man. And next week, it's going to be all looking at the numbers, looking at the over-unders for the game on my channel. No film next week. Sorry, guys. But it's going to be a different type of content next week.
Let's go. I can't wait for it,
all
man.
Right, well,
can't wait for
it. Man.
There he goes. Joe Shea, Fanatics Sports. That is what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking about right there. That is a guy who has watched the tape and is backing it up. So I love it. And if you haven't already, check out all of his work. But that breakdown on the interior of the defensive line, I mean, Christian Barmore and Milt Williams, Kyrus Tonga, these guys are just eating offensive linemen for breakfast. And you saw it real time in the AFC Championship, but the breakdown is phenomenal as well. So let me know what you guys think about what matchups are key for the Patriots in this matchup with the Seahawks. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. And we come at you every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then we're available wherever you get those podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show. When we come back, last segment of the first week of Super Bowl buildup, we got to talk about the Bruins, man, because Lord knows if the Patriots weren't in the Super Bowl, I'd be talking so much more Bruins right now. And they just continue to win while everyone's paying attention to football. They continue to win. And this one player continues to get hotter and hotter by the week. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are punching air right now. We'll tell you about it coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, Rogue Media Sports Network, Cam Stewart here. Zach Burke is behind the glass. How about a great interview with Joe Shea, man? Like I've been watching his videos and I reach out there and I'm thinking like, not that he doesn't have credibility, but just that like, am I going to have a guy who breaks down film on YouTube on the show? And I was like, you know what? I am, because I watch enough of these and these guys deserve the credit too. And look what you got. You got an awesome preview and breakdown from him. Like the stats matter. And I do want to talk about the Bruins in a minute, but I don't know if, like those of you watching live on YouTube, or if Zach saw this, I just saw this in the break. Catherine O'Hara died. She's only 71. Man, like Zach is nodding. He saw this. I look, I don't know. Maybe she's been sick. She certainly, she makes public appearances. Schitt's Creek did not end all that long ago. Like, I don't know. That kind of took me back. I was like, whoa, Catherine O'Hara. Talk about a heck of an actress. And I am glad that she got kind of that second life with Schitt's Creek. I have such a complex relationship with Schitt's Creek because it is a good show. It is objectively a really good show. But I was so sick of like middle-aged women telling me how I needed to watch Schitt's Creek to the point where I just stopped watching it. Because and that's a peek into my reality, how much of a sicko I am. Like the psychotic person that lives inside me. That people I enjoyed a show. I wasn't like binging it, but I liked watching it. And then too many people told me how good it was, and I said I don't want to watch it anymore. But I'm so glad that she kind of got that second win through that show. And obviously, you know, Home Alone was huge. She's been in plenty of other things, man. I mean, what an accomplished actress. That's sad to see, man. That is sad to see. 71. Doesn't even seem like she was 71, man. Like she was great. She was great. So that is a real bummer. I don't know how I transitioned from Joe Shea to the late Catherine O'Hara to the Boston Bruins, but here we are, man. This is how we got to do it. Man, if the Patriots were not in the Super Bowl, I think the number one sports story in the city would be how hot the Bruins have gotten Like, we're already established the Celtics are good when they weren't supposed to be, but no one expected this Bruins team to be good. And right now, they are good. They're not just scrappy. They're not just exceeding expectations. And that might be where they're at the end of the season. But right now, they're good. And to add on to this, the only thing better than how hot the Bruins are right now is the fact that they are that hot and the Leafs are that cold. And it just keeps getting thrown into the face of Leafs fans at every turn, because the guy who is maybe not the motor of this hot streak the Bruins are on right now, but certainly one of the big contributors to it, is Fraser Minten. This Fraser Minten trade with the Leafs could end up being as bad for Toronto as the Tuukka Rask one. And Tuukka Rask is probably Hall of Famer, so maybe that's a stretch. But this has the ability to be just an all-time bad trade for the Leafs with the Bruins again. Fraser Minten and a first-round pick and the pick that became Vasek Blanar, who is his team's leading scorer in Sweden as a defenseman, for Brandon Carlo. That could be one of the all-time great fleeces. Certainly one of the all-time great Don Sweeney fleeces. Big props to Don Sweeney on this one, who is having a good year. The Sweenius. And as good as it's gone for the Bruins, it has been that bad for the Leafs. But let's talk about the Bruins. Let's talk about Fraser Minten, man, who sits at 29 points and a plus 20 after a 3-point night against the Flyers last night. And that's playing third-line minutes. He's been your third-line center from day one this season. Matthew Poitras, once the next center in the Bruins pipeline, was called up for his first game of the year last night. And you see 93 of a 3-point night, and you think that's why Matthew Poitras played one game this year in the NHL. Because Fraser Minten is their guy. And you could have, in the Stadium Series this weekend, you could have 4 centers who are all under the age of 24, 25 years old. With Minten and Husnadinov and Matthew Poitras. And then who knows, by the end of the season, maybe James Higgins is on there. He'll probably be on the wing. But this center problem has turned quite nicely. And it's showing in the results, man. Bruins got their 33rd win of the year last night. That's more than they had all last season. And not a ton has changed. We're talking about tertiary characters here. You know, like Elias Lindholm's been better, but not that much better. Casey Middlestat has come along. He had a nice game last night. Fraser Minten has come along, and he has been humongous for this team. And that first-round pick, that is barely protected, y'all. Barely. It's top 5 protected. That's it. And here he is. I mean, he's doing it in his last 15 games, Fraser Minten, just catching fire. A plus 20. He's in the top 20 in the league in plus minus as a 21-year-old third-line center for a team that finished 15th in the Eastern Conference last year. And I'm going to say the Brandon Carlo trade looked good for the Bruins in the beginning. Like just getting a first-round pick. I didn't know much about Fraser Minten, but you're like, okay, 20-year-old center, one of the 2 prospects that the Leafs actually had. Maybe you can make something out of him. And to see him doing this as a 21-year-old, let me just say this. I don't know that there's a ceiling on this kid. Everyone wanted to talk about, including me, before the season, that he was a penalty-killing, face-off taking, good defensive matchup center that you can put in your bottom 6 for a long time, and good teams need that. And here I'm sitting, I'm like, man, he's already that. And he's 21 years old. So at this point, why am I going to put a limit on what this kid can do, what this kid can be? And every time he goes up and he plays with real talent, you know, like David Pastrnak, he has multi-point nights every time. But now he is making whatever line he's on dangerous. And he played a little bit with Middlestat and Arvidsson. He's done that as well. And he's making them all better. He's making everyone better. And the Leafs, the Leafs. on the other side. Man, this is a great tweet. The Atlantic Division, which has been hotter than fish grease the last month and a half. Like, it's as good as the Central is right now, and the Central's a gauntlet with Minnesota and Dallas and Colorado. But look at the Atlantic. The Lightning, who is the Bruins' next opponent, 16-1-1 in their last 18 games. The Red Wings, 8-2-2 in their last 12. The Buffalo Sabres, 20-3-1 in their last 24. The Buffalo Sabres. The Bruins, 12-2-1 in their last 15. And then you look below that, and it's the Panthers, 8 points out of a playoff spot with all their injuries. And the Leafs, 10 points out of a playoff spot. That's where Toronto's at right now. 10 points out. They've lost 4 in a row. They just lost again to a bad Kraken team last night. Lost by 3. Blown out in Seattle. And they've got 2 wins in their last 10. And they're looking over there at Brandon Carlo. They're thinking, we could be having Fraser Minten's 29 points right now. This Minten guy's got more goals than Matthew Nyes does this year. We just signed him to a 7-8 year sheet there. Like, this is really bad for Toronto. Who, to take it even further, how about this? It was their first 6-game winless skid since November of 2019. And they've allowed 45 goals over a 9-game span for the first time since 1992. They were playing in the Western Conference back then. 1992 was the last time they've given up this many goals in a 9-game span. Could you use a young, cost-controlled, defensive-minded center right now? Do you think maybe they could use that? Because, again, from the beginning, this is Brad Treliving's nightmare, dude. He went out and he spends serious capital on Brandon Carlo because the team needed an edge on defense. Carlo at one time was a super valuable defensive defenseman, man. But he doesn't play with an edge. He doesn't play with physicality. And the last couple of years, he has not been the same player. And Toronto saw that more than almost anybody in the league. They play in the same division. And they gave up Fraser Minten and a first and a third. The Bruins could be getting a top 10 pick in the draft out of that. And people say, well, the Leafs suck so bad, that's going to be a top 5, and the Bruins aren't going to get that pick. I'm like, yeah, maybe. There's always that risk when this team is this ass. But also, like, we saw how bad the Bruins were last year. They couldn't get a top 5 pick. You've got to be really, really bad from pillar to post to be in the top 5 in the NHL, even with the lottery. Like, if you want to guarantee a spot there, like the Islanders thing last year was 1 in a million. And who knows? Maybe the Leafs do. If it's Gavin McKenna, who it might not be at number 1, maybe the Leafs get the ping pong balls going the right way. Maybe Gary Bettman throws him a bone. I doubt it. They already had one, bro. You have Austin Matthews. Bruins have never gotten that bounce. Maybe getting the 6th overall pick will be the Bruins bounce from Toronto because it's top 5 protected. But I can't stop singing the praises of this kid. And earlier in the season, it was a bunch of NHL fans saying, oh my God, this is a Michael Bunting thing. Bruins fans are trying to make it out to be like he's the best rookie in the league and all that. And it's like, yeah, you didn't see it necessarily from the points numbers. But now the points numbers are coming. He's going to be a 20, 25 goal guy. Like, if you told me that before the season, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I might have given up a first-round pick for that. And like, you look at, he's right up there in the top 5 in the league in goals by a rookie. He's 3rd. He's got more than Ivan Demidov. Like, Emmett Finney. Remember the great start to the year he had? Not as highly regarded, but, he's got more goals than him and Ritskovian and Schaefer, who's a defenseman. By the way, Demidov isn't even the leading scorer amongst rookies on his team for goals, I should say, for goals. But man, he's right up there. He's 6th in the league in points by a rookie. And this is someone that people weren't giving a lot of attention to. And he's not the only one that's been a huge part of this. The Bruins' depth scoring has been awesome. I saw the stat last night. I wish I had written it down. It was like 14 different goal scorers in this 8-game home winning streak that the Bruins have. They've been unbeatable at home. Man, this is a fun team to watch. I got to get out there before the prices get jacked back up on these weeknight games. It's like $50 to get in the building last night, which is awesome for the Bruins at this point. And playing, the Philly Flyers, man, like one of their big rivals traditionally. You'll have some Philly fans in the building. The Flyers have been better than people thought they were going to be. Like that's a good ticket, man. That's a good ticket. We'll see what it's like when they're in those ugly uniforms outside this weekend. But I'm telling you, it's Kessel all over again. The Bruins just live to fleece the Leafs. If you're a Leafs fan, you got to get Tree Living to block the 617 numbers because this is crazy. Like, I would say the Bruins have already won this trade just by getting a first-round pick out of it. Like, Carlo's not turning around his career, man. I like him. He seems like a nice guy. He was a good piece for the Bruins. I don't want to just be trashing him the whole time, but he's not going to be 2019 Brandon Carlo again. That's not happening. You've lost that. And if you're the Leafs, you're way worse than the Bruins. Bruins are a playoff team. Leafs are 10 points out, and we're about to hit the Olympic break. That's a mess. That's an absolute. They're talking about rebuilding. They're talking about blowing it up. They're talking about potentially trading Willie Nylander. That's what they're talking about up there in Toronto. Give you Fraser Minten back for Willie Nylander. Actually, the Bruins might not even do that. But let me know what you think. Is this another fleece job by Don Sweeney to the Toronto Maple Leafs? Could this end up being the best trade for the Bruins between these two teams? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio. It is right here on the Wicked Boston Show. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Joe Shea. Have a good weekend, everyone. We will see you on Monday on the Wicked Boston Show.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.